Hello, my name is Sarah and I'm an English teacher and language anxiety coach, and I am joined today with Sylvia.
Hi, Sarah. Yes, I'm Sylvia. I'm an English enthusiast from Italy. I'm one of your students and an English teacher too.
Awesome. Wow. And you successfully passed CPE almost 6 months ago now. And today we are going to discuss everyone's favorite use of English question, and that is the word formation question. It's part 3 of use of English.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So what are Cambridge testing people on in word formation?
Well, in this third part, they basically test your ability to create words from given words by using the affixation, compounding, and grammatical changes.
That's right. Okay. And how many marks are available in this question?
Well, again, there are 8 gaps, and it is 1 mark for each gap. So
Okay.
8 marks in total.
8 marks in total. Okay. And how long did you spend on this question when you took your CPE exam?
Yeah, longer than part 1 and part 2. I allowed myself 9 to 10 minutes.
Okay. Why do you feel that this question deserves, I mean, that's double the time of parts 1 and 2. Why?
Right, because it is for sure more complex as an exercise. You have to fully understand the text they give you, and you have to figure out how to complete the text. And of course, they give you the given words, and again, you need to process every single word, understand the role of each single word in the article, and change them. It takes time. As the changes you can do to these given words are unlimited. I mean, you can do all the changes you like.
Yeah, exactly. And
So
that's
it
something
takes
people
time.
need to be aware of, isn't it? It's not necessarily just one change. You might have to
Mm.
add a prefix and then change the word form from a noun to a something else as well. Tricky stuff. Okay, shall we go and take a look at an example question, Sylvia?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, so here is an example of the word formation question. And again, just to be clear, this is taken from the Cambridge Proficiency second test book, and it's test 4. So Sylvia, what do you do when you see this in front of you?
Well, right. First of all, I would read the title
Yeah.
and the entire text. I would make sure I understand the general meaning. I would skim it and reading for gist.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, what I did personally was to try to figure out which word I need to put in every single gap before reading the given words.
Okay, so it sounds like you were kind of doing a little bit of prediction by looking at the title,
Right.
skimming for the overall content, and then doing a little bit more prediction, like what do I think would fit here, and then checking that against the word that Cambridge have given you.
Yeah, right.
Okay, fine. And again, just to be clear, Cambridge always give you an example. So this naught is the
Yeah,
example that Cambridge have given you, and you can
sure.
see that there's they've added a prefix and they've also changed the form of the word. So 2 things have happened here.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're going to talk through some of these questions. I think the first one we were going to look at actually was number 1.
Yeah.
So tell us about number 1.
Yeah, so after having read the entire sentence, I would for sure make sure that number 1 requires an adverb.
How do you know it requires an adverb?
Have a look. These are indications that passengers must be requested to refrain from talking on their mobile phones. For sure, I need something that changes in a way requested.
Okay, so we're
So,
looking to do something to that word.
right,
Okay, cool. So then your next challenge then is to take this word specify and turn it into an adverb that would fit in that spot.
right, right. And in this case, well, it's not that difficult as specifies the verb, specifically is the adverb. Uh, the level of these two words is not C2,
Yeah,
right? It's your ability to understand that you need an adverb, that it is ability, but specifically is a common word, isn't it?
it is. It is. And we didn't touch on this in the introduction, but tell me about spelling. Like, what happens if I misspell this word?
Yeah, you miss one point.
Yeah, exactly. So when you're learning your vocabulary, you've got to make sure that you learn the spelling too. So let's look at number 2 next, because I think this is quite an interesting one down here with the word numerate. Tell us a little bit about number 2, Sylvia.
Yeah, right. Well, number 2 is particularly tricky as after having read the sentence and after having read all the article, I know that here I'm in front of a passive structure.
And is that because of this verb be
Yeah.
here? Yeah.
Are easily, I need to put something that makes sense with are.
Yeah.
Are easily, and then we have the adverb. Well, I would change numerate into enumerated.
Okay. Like this.
Like this.
Okay. So this is a tricky one because you've got to be able to look back and recognize this is going to be a passive structure. And because it's passive, you need that ed ending on your verb. And
Yeah,
you need to know how to change that into this form.
right.
That is a really, really tricky one, I think, to go from numerate to enumerated. Hmm. All right. Which one would you like to look at next, Sylvia?
Well, let's go on with number 4,
Number
imagine.
4. Okay, let's take a look at number 4.
Here we have to be very precise and accurate,
Mm-hmm.
as we have imagine, which is the
Mm-hmm.
verb,
Mm-hmm.
but the sentence requires another adverb.
Mm-hmm.
We have almost, no, sorry, an adjective in this case.
Mm-hmm.
And it is an adjective which starts with a negative prefix.
Okay.
And we also need to put a suffix at the end. Well, to sum up, unimaginable. Unimaginable capabilities.
Mm. So that's quite a tricky one because you've got a couple of different things that you needed to do there to
You're
get
right.
that answer, right? You mentioned the negative suffix. How did you know that you needed a negative suffix?
Well, because first of all, I read the entire article and I know for sure what it is about. And then here, well, because the capabilities are so many
Mm.
that it is something, is logical to me, that it is
Mm-hmm.
unimaginable.
Okay, and that word, that's really important because it's logical to me.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying there, it seems like is my English is big enough and good enough that I just know that answer. And this is I think one of the really tricky things at CPE is you've got to do the study and you've got to put in the hours, but at the end of the day, you need, if you want to do well at CPE, you need your English to get good enough that it just becomes logical. I just know that because there is nothing else that fits, because
Right,
that's just what fits.
right.
And you had one more question that you wanted to look at, Sylvia. Which one
Yeah,
was it?
let's have a look at number 8. As
Okay.
here, they ask you something different. We went through affixation, we went through grammatical changes. Here we have a compounding example. And while with the verb, with the noun coming, we need to find out a different word,
Mm.
which is a compound word.
That's
And
it.
in this case, it is shortcomings, aren't they?
That's it.
Shortcomings,
Shortcomings.
shortcoming, singular, shortcomings, plural. I believe both are accepted.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now I've been copying the words actually into the text, but of course, what we should point out to people is that there are spaces here, and really on the test they need to be writing
Yeah,
here. Is that correct?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, how do you find that shortcomings is the right word? Well, because you have read the text fully, you know that you need something in contrast with advantages.
Yes,
So
that's a good
it is the
point.
contrary, the opposite of advantages. Well, drawbacks at
Yep.
the flip side, disadvantages, but with coming, shortcomings.
Yes. Yes. And so this is why it's so important to really read it and understand it, because you need to know that you are going to need to make a contrast between this word and the word that goes in the space. And then, so how do I do that with the word coming?
Right.
Interesting stuff. Okay, Sylvia, shall we go and have a little chat about how people can actually prepare for this
Right.
question?
Yeah.
So, Sylvia, what tip or tips would you like to share with people if they want to prepare for this word formation question? What do people need to do?
Well, first of all, they need to time themselves and allow them 9 to 10 minutes to do the exercise. And then I would suggest you try to complete this kind of template as much as possible, maybe using books like Objective Proficiency or the past papers.
Mm, mm, mm,
Reading is fundamental, but also being able to familiarize with the layout of the exercise.
mm.
Yeah, and Joe Flow is also
Flojo.
Flojo is also a super good source of exercises to practice. Yeah,
So it sounds like you're saying people really need to actually spend time practicing this task. It's not enough to kind of reading a lot and learning vocabulary is great, but you also need to actually train and practice this particular skill.
yeah. Recognize that you have a root and you need to work on that root, on that given word by with the affixation, so prefixes, suffixes, compoundings, and grammatical changes. This is possible only if you have the template in front of you, I believe. So this is my personal suggestion.
Yeah, lots and lots and lots of practice. Absolutely. Awesome. Sylvia, thank you so much for your time and for sharing all your thoughts and ideas. And the next time that we meet, we are going to be discussing its key word transformation.
Oh,
Oh, ah, lovely.
the
Mm,
most difficult.
everybody loves keyword transformation. All right, Sylvia, I will see you then.
Yeah, see you then. Bye,
Bye
Sarah.
bye.
Bye.